Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this segment of Khoj Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. The recitation continues from Gauri Mahalla Panjwa, the composition of the fifth Nanak, Guru Arjan in the Rag Gauri, and the recitation is as follows. Gauri Mahalla Panjwa, Mahjar Jhutha Kiton Aap, Papi ko laga santaap, जिसह सहाई गोबिंद मेरा, तिसको जम नहीं आवे नेरा रहाओ। साची दरगह बोले कूड़, सिर हाथ पछोड़े अंधा मूड़। रोग व्यापे कर दे पाप, अदली होए बैठा प्रभ आप। अपन कमाइए आपे बादे, दरब गया सब जी के साथे। नानक शरण परे दरबार, राखी पैज मेरे करतार। नानक शरण परे दरबार, राखी पैज मेरे करतार. This passage is in some ways a continuation of the previous passage, in that it is believed that this is also a comment on a historical event. And the event involves a petition that was made to the Mughal Emperor Akbar, claiming ownership of the well, the Bauli, a well with steps that had been constructed by Guru Amar Das at Goindwal. Again, whether or not this really happened is not the issue here. It is the moral that we need to be concerned with. And the moral is not to violate the imperative of hukum, moral imperative, not to indulge in perjury or to bear false witness. So the Guru says the petition that was brought was denied by the emperor himself. Mahjar Jhutha Kiton Aap. But here, of course, Aap is a reference to the Creator. The Creator itself caused the petition to be denied, the Guru says. And the wrongdoers, Papi ko laga santaap, they suffered much torment as a result. So the point he is making is, Jisai sahai gobind mera, tisko jam nahi aave nera. Those who have my master as their support remain untouched by the fear of death, which is always near, nera. So in Gurmat, among the lasting and important things in life is an awareness, an understanding, a cultivation and an application of a virtue called gun. But the Guru says, rare is the individual who actually develops virtue. Gun ka gahak nanka, virla koi hoy. Rare. So the question that we need to ask ourselves and mull over is, how is virtue understood in Gurbani and what is its application in life? That's really what we need to chew on. In the context of this passage and the previous one, what we are observing is that an important definition of virtue includes justice. Now, if you recall in the previous passage, the assertion that divine justice is infallible. Pura nyao kare kartar. So therefore, if that justice is infallible and we seek the support of Gobind, then we don't need to have any kind of fear, because we know Pura nyao kare kartar, that divine justice is infallible. Sachi dargah bole kood. He continues. Sachi dargah bole kood. Sir haath pachode. Anda mood. This is the state of those who are ignorant and foolish. Anda mood. Because they bear false witness in the true court. Sachi dargah bole kood. And what happens to them is ultimately sir haath pachode. They slap their own heads in repentance. Because bearing false witness, perjury, in other words, violating moral imperatives, can only bring repentance. But the problem is this. We are weighed down by the sickness of haume, rog beape. And because we are weighed down or surrounded or enveloped by haume, we go astray, karde paap. Rog beape, karde paap. And then where is the judgment occurring? The Guru says, Adli hoye baitha prabh aap. Adli, judge, one who is a witness and judges. So the Guru is saying that the self itself, prabh aap, sits as the perpetual judge. Adli hoye baitha, witnessing our actions. So in effect, we are witnessing our own actions from a different perspective, not the perspective of the haume, but the perspective of the self, which is our perspective as well. But because we are enveloped by the sickness of haume, we don't see the larger perspective of the self, and we go astray. Karde paap. So this verse particularly should dispel any notion that we have, or we still entertain, about God as an old bearded man in the skies, sitting on a throne dispensing justice. So the Guru is telling us here in no uncertain terms that we carry within us a witnessing judge, which is, at the end of the day, ourselves. So what does it mean to violate the moral imperative? In Sikhi, there is only one moral imperative, and that is hukum. And so you violate hukum when you misidentify with haume, when you think that you are the haume self. Only that is to violate the imperative of hukum. So acting out of haume, we go astray. And so the perpetual judge is, you guessed it, hukum. So therefore, it follows that we are responsible for what we do. And through our actions, we earn the fruit of what we do. So our actions can be liberating or they can be binding. Apan kamaye, a-sabad-a-day. Actually, the word is apan. This is used quite commonly in Hindi to mean me. Apan kamaye, a-sabad-a-day. So I perform the actions and I reap the fruit. Darab gaya sabji ke saath. So all of our holdings eventually slip through our hands. The Guru is simply reminding us that we live in a fleeting existence and eventually everything slips away. Darab gaya sabji ke saath. But we also live within the framework of endless cause and effect, also called karma. What we do, how we act, has consequences, which we may or may not be able to anticipate. So therefore, the Guru cautions us in the end to say, act out of Saran Pare Darbar. Nanak, Saran Pare Darbar, seek refuge in the court and be protected. Rakhi Paj Mere Kartar, protect your honor. What the Guru is saying when he says to seek refuge or to fall at the feet, what is being implied here is to act from that particular perspective, namely Gurmat, the self. The inner court, the Darbar, is a metaphor for the inner voice of the self, which is an extension of Hukam. So to listen to the inner voice is to be in harmony with Hukam. And that is the honorable thing to do. On that note, until the next time, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.